Hello everyone, welcome back to Emma Bobbins. This is my channel where I talk about all things cross stitch, and welcome to Flosstube number 4. That doesn't make any sense. How can I have done 4 floss tubes? And it's only March. I suppose, yeah, I done one in December, so December, January, February, and now March. I'm recovering. I was quite sick. We'll go on to that a little bit later, but just expect this to be really chatty. I've got my little cup of tea. Go get your beverage of choice. It's gonna be a little chatty one. Because I actually realised that I like not only talking about cross stitch, but also I like watching and consuming, obviously, but also I like talking about like all other things that I'm interested in. Books, games, TV shows, podcasts, like all that kind of stuff. So other YouTube categories or genres, if you want to call it that. My voice is still coming and going. We'll start with the cross stitch stuff, then I'll go into a little bit of life stuff, and then we'll just go into like some general chit chat. Okay, sound good? Sounds good to me. We'll start with the finishes because oh my goodness. Finally I finished the Dimensions Geisha. This took me so long, but she's finally done. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up so you can see her in all her glory. There is a lot of different kinds of stitches on here. I think French knots, lazy daisies, and then some just like kind of normal back stitch. So she was a real challenge for me. I didn't realise when I picked up this kit that it was going to be so difficult, but it was. I don't have an accurate stitch count because obviously Markup RXP doesn't include like all the non-normal stitches. This was the first pattern that I loaded into Markup RXP in full. I started and finished it in Markup RXP, and that's where I kind of like fell in love with it. It was 11,500 full cross stitches. It took me about 45 hours and 19 minutes. I started it on the 29th of October and I finished it on the 11th of February, so just after I had uploaded my last floss tube. I was so close, and it took a lot of determination to get her done. I love the blue on her kimono. I just think it's stunning with the blue. Not 100% keen on the background colours. I also ran out of some colours because it was supposed to be single strand on the background, and I accidentally done 2 strands, so I ran out of the floss quite quickly on that, but I just substituted it. I think it was this kind of lighter shade here, so I just substituted it for some ecru. So she's been glued at the back. I'll show you the back if you're interested. So I glued the back down with some Mod Podge, left it for 2 days just to completely dry, and then washed it in some cool water and ironed it. I also glued her little hairpin right here, and I put far too much on, which was a shame because then I had like this big white patch all around her head when all I wanted to do was just pin down this little knot thing that I had made accidentally. That's what it's kind of supposed to look like, but I just couldn't do the stitch because it's like half metallic and half not metallic. It just wouldn't sit flat, so that's why I glued it. I was like, oh no, what? I use Mod Podge to glue it down, so I was like, I don't know what actually gets Mod Podge off of fabric, so I googled it, and this little curl here is like really like wanting to go near my neck. Yeah, so to get rid of Mod Podge you have to use like acetone, so well, that was one of the suggestions anyway, and I was like, I do have that, so I tried a tiny little bit on it, and it worked. I don't know if I can zoom you in a little bit, and then you might be able to see a little bit better. Yeah, so I just love these colours. I love everything about it. I want to frame her, but I don't know. I don't have the space to put the frame. She will live in the folio over here. That kit for the Dimensions Geisha, I got her from Hobbycraft in Newcastle. I think it was about £20, but I really didn't realise how many different stitches or how much was actually involved in that kit. So that was part of the Petite's Gold collection, if I'm remembering right. I'm pretty sure it is. And I thought, oh, petite, that means it won't take me so long. Yeah, I was really wrong. It took me such a long time, but I really enjoyed stitching it. It was just the background took forever, and if I was to do it again, I wouldn't do the background. I would just do the geisha and the flower kind of border at the top and just leave it at that. So that was the only finish. Onto my whips then. So I technically have 3, but one of them is a new start, even though I said I wouldn't. But anyway, let's just go through the whips. I actually have 2 needles on this. This is Dragon Dance of Lake Depths by Nadija Gavrilankova. I think I only had a couple of days in February that I actually worked on this. Mostly this blue down here, and I think a little bit of the dark blue up the top as well. Really not a lot of progress as such, but you know, still a little bit. I think I said this in one of my other floss tubes, but I'm really not in a rush to get any of this, the dragon, like done really quickly or anything like that. It's just my nice little project that I just get to work on and see come to life. Since last time, I think I've done about 800 or 900 stitches. She a big boy. I'm only 9.9% through, and I've been stitching on this for, this is one that I loaded into Markup RXP because I was originally marking this in GoodNotes. So it says I've been stitching for 7 hours and 10 minutes, but that is not reflective of this progress. I've done way more than that. I've still got 34,000 stitches to do. So good. I love all the colours in this. Like, I wasn't too sure about the lily pads, but I think if you had anything brighter for the lily pads, it would just take away from the brightness of the actual dragon and actually the koi fish probably around it. So I'll leave a picture here what it's supposed to look like once it's fully complete. I really hope I have measured this fabric correctly, otherwise I'm going to be real sad about it. I think I'll be okay, but you know, that way I'm just like starting to doubt myself. Did I actually measure it properly at the time or not? I'm still using my little covers for my projects just to keep some dust and cat hair off them, although it does not by any means prevent it completely. It does not. And then my other whip, I haven't made any progress on. It's Oh Christmas Tree, which is a big advent calendar from Christopher magazine. I'll leave a picture of it here, what it's supposed to look like and what I have done so far. It's not a lot, but I'm hoping once I get this other new project out of the way, then I'll be able to go back to my dragon and the advent calendar, and I'll just kind of flip-flop between them until they're both done. So, new starts. Let's just remind ourselves of what happened last time. In my last floss tube, what did I say? What's my plan of attack going forward then? Once I finish the basketball player, I'm going to go to the Geisha, get that completely finished, and then I'll probably just kind of flip-flop between the dragon and the Christmas one, which obviously means I won't have a lot of whips to show you in the future. I want to get my other half sleeve done this year at some point, so I really want to save up to get my tattoo done, which means sacrifices must be made elsewhere. I do have like a lot of patterns that I've purchased though, so I think the exception that I'll make is if I already have a pattern that I want to start, then I can go buy the supplies to start it, but it's just no like buying new patterns or kits or anything like that. Hilarious, past Emma, hilarious. So some of you might have seen on my Instagram, Happy Sloth Patterns posted that they had made some custom designs for a customer for part of the classroom. So they wanted mermaids? They wanted mermaids to represent all the different cultures and backgrounds in their classroom, and they released Black Girl Mermaid. I initially thought, oh, she's chef's kiss, you know, she looks great. I came across it again on Instagram and I was like, wait. How incredible would she look, like her whole tail and her bra metallics? And then that just set the whole tone for the rest of it. So a little bit of haul, a little bit of new start. I went to Lakeside Needlecrafts and purchased quite a lot of metallics, a couple of DMC colours that I didn't have. Basically, if you ignore the bottom row on my bobbin box, this is everything that I bought. So we've got some Chronics in the middle here. There we go. So when I was trying to colour match the pattern that I bought from Happy Sloth Patterns, I loaded it into Markup RXP and I was like, right, what colours is it actually that I need to replace from DMC into metallic? That's why I ended up with a couple of Chronics, because Chronic didn't have a lot of the shades that I was looking for. I didn't want to go to like multiple places to buy different supplies. I was like, I just need to go to all the one place. They've been really good so far. And then also, a brand I haven't heard a lot about is Glisten Gloss. Can you see that rainbow effect? And I really like them. the Cryonics as well, like I'm starting to realise that I'm totally okay with working with metallics like that. Some of them have a little bit more stretch than others, which is just something to get used to, but yeah, they've been fine. They've been totally fine. So all the metallics were quite new to me. The only time I've ever used metallics before was in the Geisha that came part of the Dimensions kit, and that was an ass to work with because it was just really it wasn't very malleable. It was very straight, so if you were trying to like almost pull it in a curve, it just wouldn't sit like in the curve. It had to be like perfectly straight, whereas I feel like the Cryonics and the Glisten Glosses are a lot just more malleable. They're a little bit more elasticated, so you can kind of manipulate them a little bit better. And then on top of that, I also bought from Lakeside Needlecrafts, and this has been obviously cut. It's a little bit worse for wear at the moment, but I bought this beautiful pastel over-dyed fabric. I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly what that means, but it's so pretty. So this is what I bought for my mermaid. Obviously this big square down here is where she is. Oh, it's so nice. It says no detergent on it, so like I wonder if I can just still wash it in some cold water just to get some of the grubbiness off before I iron it, but it's like a problem for, I'm going to say another day, but it's going to be really soon that I finish this mermaid. Yeah, this was 18 count, and this was part of Lakeside Needlecrafts February 2023 fabric club. I was like, I don't want white, I want something that will make her like pop a little bit more, you know. I think that brings us on to the actual whip. This is a little bit of haul, a little bit of whip. I've been using the big 11-inch, these aren't Q-snap frames, they're snap so easy frames, but the smallest size I do is 11 by 11 inches, I believe this is, and that was just far too big. I'll put a picture in of what the mermaid looked like in that big frame. There wasn't quite enough to snap her at the top, like I could snap 3 sides but not the top, so the tension was kind of not great. I've still been using my hair nets on this little teeny tiny frame that I also got from Lakeside Needlecrafts. So this is the official Q-snap frame. This is a 6x6 and she just fits a lot better in it, and that's what she looks like so far. I'll take her out of the frame because yeah, to get the Q-snap off is a little bit easier than the So Easy frames. If you maybe have issues where you can't pull things, you don't have the strength in your arms, maybe that's something to consider. I would go for the Q-snap frames instead over the So Easy ones. Look at her! I literally just finished her hair last night, so that was a full skein of black with a little tiny bit extra for this project. So let me just zoom you in a little bit so you may be able to see a little bit better. I find it really hard to capture like the sparkle though, like of the metallics, but look at her. Oh, so yeah, I've just got the rest of her tail and the rocks that she's sitting on and some kelp to do, and then that's me completely done. I love her so much. I really wanted to do like one of the Bella Filipina, is it Bella Filipina or Mirabella? Something like that. They're mermaids, but I'm like, I kind of like the cartoonishness of this. Also, I've slightly underestimated the size at each end, so I think she should have actually been this way when I cut the fabric, but I've got just enough. Less than what I would have liked, but just enough. And how good does she look on that pastel rainbow fabric? She's looking so good. I'm so proud of her. Can you see the shine? I'm trying to like move her back and forth so it's like you can see the metallics. And I need your guys' help. I don't know what to call her. What does she look like to you? Because I'm really not sure. Troy's like, why don't you just call her Ariel? And I'm like, you can't. Her name's not Ariel. I don't feel like she's an Ariel to me. But maybe that's like a decision we can make together. So leave me a comment below what you think her name, or what does she look like to you? I'm kind of thinking like a B name, kind of like Betty, but not like Betty Boop. I don't know. I think she's deserving of a name, at least, anyway. Oh, I'll tell you how far I'm through, actually, of the mermaid. So there's 7,339 stitches in total. I'm about 65% through, so I've got maybe about 2,500 stitches to go. And I've been working on it at the moment for 33 hours-ish. Last night, I plugged in about nearly 500 stitches trying to get her hair done, and the day before I was about 400, so I was just really raring to try and get her hair done so that I could move on, continue down. I was really struggling with her frame before, so it literally just came yesterday. and put her all nice in a new frame, which is so much easier. It makes such a difference to stitching. A little bit of haul. I obviously got the first order from Lakeside Needlecrafts. I got all the metallics, I got the fabric, and I think that was it actually. And then I've just literally done another order for Lakeside Needlecrafts like last week, because I was really struggling with that frame. And I was like, oh, I'm spending like £15 on a frame. And then I think it was like £2-3 for delivery, and obviously in my head I'm like, well, I could just spend £30 because I'm gonna buy stuff anyway and just get like a little bit of stuff that I need. So saving for my tattoo is completely gone for this month anyway. And I ordered a couple of little things. Q-snap frame, the 6x6, game changer for smaller projects, which is great. I love the big frames for big pieces. I don't like embroidery hoops, I've decided as well. I'm sorry, I can't hold, do you know what it feels like? I can't get a good grip on it, so I can't sit comfortably with it in my hand. It's really weird, but I guess that's just a condition of being me. And then I also ordered some more fabric. You might remember in, I think it was my first Flosstube video, I showed you the Universal Monster Stitch Along by Witchy Stitcher. I really want to get going with it, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do for fabric. I had come across this one. This is just a Zweigart 18 count vintage grey Ada. This is a 50 by 55 centimeter. I thought this would look incredible, but I didn't at the time actually want to go and buy it because I was like, oh, maybe I'll find something better, but I just think this looks good. Obviously the Witchy Stitcher includes a load of different information, what they would recommend in terms of fabric colours on it, and they're like, I wouldn't do black because there's, well, number one, you wouldn't see the black outline, right? And then obviously there's a lot of black, so that's a lot to stitch black on black. At least I have some fabric set aside for it so that I can actually start stitching it once I'm ready. Troy is just gone back to work after he fractured his shoulder, so this room is such a mess. And then also, some of you might recognise what this could be if you've ordered from Lakeside Needlecrafts before. Love the look of the Bella Filipinas, I love the look of the Mirabilias. I caved. I haven't opened this, so I'll open it. This is a Gaia, the Earth Goddess by Bella Filipina. I can't believe I just went and bought it. Because I was like looking at how much it costs to actually kit up a project like this. Oh my god, it's so expensive. But at the same time, I don't know if I would ever do another one, like famous last words, I suppose. So I think it's Kat at Catkin and Lily, she's doing Gaia as well, and I was looking at all the designs by Bella Filipina. There was a couple that caught my eye, but the one that I was going to go for was a killer. I don't know, I'll put it on the screen and I'll put a description, a text on screen, but that uses Fiberlicious Fibers fabric. We can't get it in the UK, so I'm like, do I need to pay like a lot of money on top of a really expensive project to get the fabric that they used, because it's just like, it's like an ombre orange and it is absolutely gorgeous. And I don't think you could do that project, well, you could if you really wanted to, you could do it on whatever fabric you wanted, right? But I think it really pops with the fabric that they've used, so I'm like, this might be a little bit too much. Like, I don't really tend to set budgets for myself, but like that would be really expensive to kit that all up. I can't remember the name of the website. It's like Arts and Crafts Studio or something like that. Again, Catkin and Lily recommended it before, so I was like, oh, I wonder what they offer, sort of thing. And they basically will kit up the whole thing for you. And I think it was like £80 just for the floss and the beads that you need. I can't remember if that is including the pattern. That's a lot of money, and then to get the fabric on top of that, don't quote me, but I think it was like an extra £40 including all the shipping and stuff. So I was like, do you know what? Gaia would look great on like a really light green anyway, or the called for fabric if I can find a shade similar. That was one of the reasons I went for Gaia. Really long story short. And also Gaia has a little bit more meaning for me. As you all know, I love gaming, and Gaia is one of the systems that makes up the Horizon universe, so Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. And Gaia is a massive part of that story, and I loved that story. I loved her character, shall we call it that, so much, and I was like, Gaia just kind of speaks to me, you know, just because of that. That's why Gaia. I have no intention of starting this anytime soon. If I could get my dragon finished, my advent calendar finished, then that kind of frees me up quite a lot to start Universal Monster Stitch along and maybe this, so we'll see. I want to like kind of keep it so that I have 1 or 2 big projects and then I can cycle through smaller projects, kind of like the mermaid that I'm doing just now. I've never bought a paper pattern that's not a kit, so this is very like exciting. Obviously I'll need to like scan this all in for Markup RXP and so that I have a PDF copy, because just in case. Let's have a look there. Oh my god, the pattern's massive. Does it actually tell you how much you need on here? Okay, so full stitches is quite a lot. Straight stitches is a couple, back stitches is a couple, and then there's beading as well. A lot of DMC, some Chronic, Karen Water Lilies colours, and then Mill Hill beads. I can't wait to get started on that. How many pages is it actually? 6. Oh, that's not too bad. So it's 152 stitches wide by 304. A lot. Is what it is. It's a lot. At least I've got the pattern now, so even if I did want to, you know, just buy some bits and pieces here and there just to slowly start building up that stash, then it makes it a little bit less painful when I'm going to buy it. I'm so excited. I want to start it now, but I know I can't because A, I don't have the stuff. That's probably a good thing. Yeah, so sorry, I'm looking at my phone. I use Notion to like kind of roughly plan out these videos, so if I'm looking down, that's why. But yeah, let's get to some life updates. I've been really not well the past 2 weeks, so you might be able to hear a little bit of my voice. My mum and dad were really bad with it, and then Troy also caught it, and I was like, I am invincible, I don't have it, and then like a couple of days later I ended up with it. I was off sick last week, the whole week. I was as sick as a dog. It started out on the Sunday night. I was supposed to go into work on Monday to meet with my manager, and I just texted her the night before and I was like, by the way, if you're coming in just for me, I'm not going to be in because I feel awful. And then after that on the Sunday I got a fever. I don't know, I was hallucinating really badly in my dreams. Like I just had such wild dreams, and I'd wake up and I thought I would be in the place that I was in my dream, and then I would eventually like come around and realize that no, I'm not actually there. It was wild. It was constantly hot, constantly cold, constantly hot, constantly cold. Like that lasted maybe like just over 24 hours, and I was like, oh thank god that is gone. But then it started with my sinuses. Like it felt like someone had like repeatedly punched me in the face. My sinuses were so painful, and then just continued with like kind of the hot and chills a little bit. On top of all of that, a couple of days later I then think I have had laryngitis as well on top of that, so I just started to lose my voice completely, and I had a constant cough, which when you're trying to sleep and you can't do anything but cough, oh my god, it is so frustrating. Mum's like, you better go to the doctor, and like the doctors are like, well, deal with it. It's like, what am I supposed to do? And I've had like chest infections and stuff before, and I'm like, this doesn't feel chesty. It was like literally my voice box was so painful. The thing is, like, I didn't stop eating. I couldn't stop eating, and I couldn't stop drinking, obviously because of the cough. 3 cough bottles later, and I seem to be on the mend. I felt so much better like this week. You know that way where sometimes you're like, yes, I've got some time off work. I was like, I can't. Like I don't even think I stitched anything really that whole week. And then I've missed like all your guys' videos, and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad I'm not keeping up, and like obviously you guys are commenting on my videos, and I'm like, I can't return the favour, and you're tagging me and things, and I'm like, I just don't have the energy. I'm very much on the mend, and I'm slowly catching up on videos, life in general, so we're obviously hoping to go for a house this year. I'm just desperate for my own space, do you know that way? I want to put up all my cross stitches like across my house. The reality of living with your parents, like although we're in such a fortunate position where we are, it's just hard sometimes, really hard, and I don't think a lot of people speak about that because you're like, don't have anything to worry about, and it's like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard for everyone in different ways, I think is what I'm trying to say. I just didn't have the energy to do anything, and I wanted to see like other people's cross stitch in the very minimal way that I could like consume. So I joined a couple of Facebook groups for Disney cross stitch, I think a general cross stitch one, and then like the Hade group. Why do these groups ask you to answer questions? Like I get it's just so that not anyone can just join, but like literally sick as a dog, and it's like, what's rule number 5 and 6? And I'm like, oh, I have to tick the box anyway to say that I've read the rules, so why are you asking me this? I don't get it. I know if you're a mod you'll probably like disagree and say, well, it's to keep people out, and it's like, it's just a little bit of a barrier to entry, you know. I wanted to talk a little bit about movies, TV, books, YouTube, stuff that I'm watching. We went to see Argylle for Troy's birthday, so I can't remember if I filmed that Flosstube before or after we went to see it. It's such dumb fun if you really like really dumb movies like I do. I can appreciate that a movie is total trash, but at the same time gives me a lot of enjoyment, and like Argylle was really, really good actually in terms of that. If you're looking for something to watch, I would recommend Argylle. And just now we're working our way through The Good Doctor, so I think we're on season 5 and I'm pretty sure there's a season 7 coming out, so we've got like, we're almost finished 5 and 6 to watch. And then obviously 7 whenever it comes out. Hopefully it's this year actually, because I really don't like going back to things. I'd rather be finished with something and then move on. I don't know, I really like The Good Doctor, but I don't know if it's a really accurate representation of an autistic person. It would have been better if an autistic person probably played Sean, the Good Doctor. Going on to books, you might remember as well, I was reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I finished. One word like review is It was really good in terms of like an entry level, I think, to the series, which I think is what the author was kind of going at. And I've heard a lot of it described as like a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which I get. Yeah, I would agree with. And obviously like setting up the world and stuff like that takes time. I'm gonna go and read the rest of the series. In terms of like, it was just so mid. It was like a 2.5 star, 3 star maybe. I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to spoil it for people maybe like me haven't read it. Other things, gaming. I don't know if I want to put this out on the internet because I'm kind of like scared of the backlash that I could get for even speaking about it, but at the same time it's like I really want to talk about it because there's probably people in the situation like I am. I finished Hogwarts Legacy. I bought Hogwarts Legacy just after we came back from Germany, so like October last year, and because of all the remarks that J.K. Rowling has made against the trans community, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm 100% fully involved and like know everything that she's done, right? But she's just kind of really soured Harry Potter for me. So much so that I bought Hogwarts Legacy because if she hadn't made those statements, I would have probably really, really enjoyed it. But then like actually finishing it, it's not great. Went from like, I love Harry Potter, this is the game for me, to she's made her statements, to this is actually what the game is. It's maybe like, I would say like a 4 out of 10. I'm kind of a completionist, so I will like scrub through like almost everything. We'll start with the negatives here. Missions are really repetitive, like collectibles are just meh, like sometimes you wouldn't even have a reason to go somewhere to get this collectible. The last third of the game is where it really came together, and I think a lot of people would have dropped off in the first 2/3 just because it didn't feel like your character really had good relationships with like the other characters in the game. Some of the storylines were like really shallow. There was one mission in the later part of the game and I was like, this has been the best mission so far, and it's one where you basically go to own a shop and you have to go through this ghosts, his like kind of like haunted shop, and that was a great mission, and it was probably the best out of all of them apart from kind of maybe the end game. The woman that is part of like the 4, they're not even founders, and the map chamber, there's a woman and she has a really interesting story from the get-go. Just didn't feel like it was a really gripping story to me, and it's buggy as hell, the game. Even, what are we, over a year after release? I think we're around about a year, if not a year. Collectibles that show on your map that you've actually already went and got. There's just a lot of like graphical glitches as well that I had. I was on the PS5 versions. Yeah, that was kind of disappointing. Positives, it looks incredible. As like a kid, this is like the type of environment that I would have loved to see in a Harry Potter game. My inner child loved that. Found it a little bit sprawling. The very southeast of the map they probably didn't need. It was just stunning. To walk through that castle was incredible, although I would have liked some more secret passages actually. There wasn't many of those. Is what it is. I'd maybe give it, yeah, a 4-ish out of 10 because of my soured experience, and as well like gameplay wise. Maybe it's just me maturing, but like I've played stuff with a hell of a lot more rich environment. I don't think it needed to be so big. So I think in the end I maybe put about 55 hours into it, and I completed pretty much everything, and I was going to go for platinum just because of the collectible thing. It was really difficult to try and like, I had to go through a guide on everything to make sure that I had collected everything, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't ticking it all off on my map. I mean, if you were just maybe to follow the main story, it might work for you, but it just kind of didn't for me, which is disappointing. I came out of it a little bit disappointed. As well, kind of on the gaming front, Fallout is coming out on April the 11th, 10th or 11th. The TV show on Amazon Prime, and I'm so hyped. The trailer looks incredible, so true to game. I've only played Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. I touched on New Vegas, but I couldn't really get into it, but I think I just need to look at it again. I'm really looking forward to it. Fingers crossed it is good. Keeping on with gaming, what's next for me? I have a lot in my backlog that I need to get through. Tomb Raider Remastered looks great. Incredible. Loved Tomb Raider when I was a kid, so you know that. The Elden Ring DLC is coming out in June. So I want to be able to hop onto that, so I might start another playthrough. I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet. And then Pacific Drive looks incredible as well. There's a lot there to keep me going. I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet. I usually like have kind of savings that go into my account, and they just like split into like different pots. I have a gaming pot, I have a cross stitch pot, I have a pot for like all these different things. What I'm watching next on Apple TV, there is a show called Silo, and it's kind of post-apocalyptic. That's how I came across it, because people, I think it was on the Fallout Reddit, recommending like other shows that look kind of similar to the Fallout one. And Silo was recommended, and it was on Apple TV. I think it's about 10 episodes, and there's also a companion podcast, which I really like in media when there's a companion podcast. I think I might watch that next. I have Apple Music Student, so like my Apple TV is included anyway. I need to really get onto Apple TV and start watching stuff. The problem is I watch a lot of YouTube. I feel like that with cross-stitch YouTube, I want to be like kind of more focused on what you guys are saying, because you know, these are all incredible. But there's ones that I have on like in the background, usually when I'm stitching, not focusing so much on the watching, I'm more focused on my stitching. So I'll give you a little rundown of some YouTubers that I've been watching recently that aren't cross stitch, and then we'll maybe do some cross stitch ones. They haven't changed. I've got my regulars that I watch. For gaming specifically, I think I've mentioned before, Many a True Nerd is like my go-to. So many series that are comfort series for me, and I've watched for, I think it's maybe been about like 8 or 9 years at this point. Yeah, I've been there a long time. Some more channels that I've recently subscribed to that are in that gaming sphere is Welonz. Welonz does really in-depth gameplay, so there's not a lot of cuts, whereas Many a True Nerd, probably kind of like my videos, they're very, what would you call it? They're like heavily edited, so there's not a lot of downtime, whereas Welonz, there is quite a bit of downtime. You actually get to see probably more of the game experience through her channel. She's Canadian, go give her a watch if you're into gaming. Last one on gaming, ChristopherOdd. I got into him because I played Days Gone last year, and I was like, oh, Many a True Nerd hasn't covered Days Gone, I need to find someone else, and that's how I found him. He's great as well, very long form. You don't need to be like entirely focused, which I really like, and there's quite a lot of downtime. It's kind of more like a really chill live stream is his vibe, but he always sets the scene. He's like, lights off, headphones on, get into it. It's so nice. Who else do I watch in terms of YouTube for like maybe travel content? New one to me is Steve Marsh. He's Scottish, so I relate a lot, and he just has a lot of different adventures. It's really nice actually, and he's actually really good at storytelling, even though it's maybe like what you're visually seeing is a little bit from the eyes if you were actually there, so it's maybe a little bit mundane in parts, but his storytelling actually really brings it all together. It's really nice. Becki and Chris for travel content as well, so they are based in the US, but they're originally from Newfoundland, so I love them. They have a great podcast as well. Their channel has been going for a really long time, so it's really fun to see their journey from start to finish. In terms of cross-stitch channels, it's my regulars. It's Stitched by Liz, it's Leah's Cross Stitch Corner, and it is Catkin and Lily, although I've got so much to catch up on and quite a few new people that I want to go and watch as well and support. Maybe I'll speak about them next time. My voice is going, I need another cup of tea. That's us, Flosstube number 4. Coming up then on the channel, I've actually got a video coming up in a couple of weeks of a project start to finish, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. First one will be the basketball player that I done for Troy. I love how that video's come together, so I'm hoping that this will make a really good like little series going forward. Obviously when I'm starting and finishing projects, like obviously some of them will take a lot longer than others. While I was like really ill, I was going through like my notes and clearing them out. What I've been doing is just throwing ideas that I have for videos into my notes, I went through and just like kind of put in the calendar like tentative dates of when all these videos are going to go live. I have enough content to keep me going every week until the start of August, which is crazy. But I don't think I'm going to get to edit this video this weekend. I'm not feeling great still. I woke up with a really bit of a headache and I actually think it's a bit of a migraine coming. I'm going to take this weekend to probably just chill and not force myself to edit and get this out in a day. It's a lot, like if you're filming in the same day, editing and then uploading at night. This battery's flashing so I need to go, so lots of exciting stuff coming up. More wishlist stuff. I'm hoping to get to the markup RXP video that I promised as well, and of course business as usual, floss tubes. That's me. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you're working on at the moment. I'd love to hear it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Love you, bye! Nothing like a good sneeze. Okay, we good? Yep, we're good. There's something in my eye and I don't know, like, I can't get it. It was when I was putting on my mascara and I was like, oh no, I can feel like a little, like, a gritty bit and I just don't know where it is, so I think we're just gonna have to deal with it. Okay, ready to go? And go. There's just threads everywhere, okay? I'm not a very organized, neat person like that. As long as it's in a box, that's fine. Fine for my brain. So, oh, I'll unzoom myself so you don't have to see my face really close up. One momento. Oh shit, I just lost the magnet off the back of my needle minder. Hello? Where'd you go?